feels so good to be back. I'm so sorry I've been completely MIA. It's been, well, I'm 5 months postpartum on Monday, so it's been 5 months. The last vlog you guys saw was my labor and delivery vlog, and to be completely honest, I had every intention of vlogging my entire postpartum journey. I even have a couple clips which I'll put in here from the first week of postpartum, but then it was just a lot. So I want to make this video because for a lot of you first-time moms too, there was a lot that I didn't know. Nobody told me these things. A lot to figure out, and I think that actually doing this now almost 5 months postpartum, I've actually learned even more, so I'm hoping that it's a little bit more useful in that way. So I'm going to go ahead and combine kind of my postpartum / breastfeeding must-haves as well as my experience into this first video. The first thing that I want to go over, postpartum sucks. I'm just gonna be honest with you. You know, my pregnancy, I have nothing to complain about. It was pretty mild pregnancy. Labor sucked. You guys saw that. That was awful. But 5 months postpartum, I forgot all about it. And delivery was cake because I had an epidural. It was fine. But those first 6 weeks postpartum suck. And people don't talk about that. Like, they don't talk about how crappy you feel newly postpartum because the attention is on the baby, and rightfully so. Brand new, you know, life you just brought into the world, but nobody really talks about you and what your body's going through. My experience was I had a normal vaginal delivery and I had a 2nd degree tear. So I tore from like the front to the back. So that is trauma to your body. That hurts. So first and foremost, it was painful. I did have a prescription for, I believe it was 800 milligram ibuprofen, which I took. I took that for the first 6 weeks. And that helped because when that would wear off, you'd kind of get that like pulsating, like painful feeling. You couldn't really sit up because you're sitting directly on the stitches. So that in itself was very uncomfortable. Couple that with the fact that you're bleeding, so you're wearing a pad, was even more uncomfortable, and it just, you kind of have that like you're walking around with a pad in between your legs. It's not comfortable. Kind of anxiety for me was like, am I leaking? Like, what's going on here? So it was just not comfortable. First and foremost, I already said it, make sure that you take the ibuprofen. Secondly, the other thing that I was prescribed that I was taking was a stool softener. My doctor prescribed me a stool softener. I don't remember what kind it was. I think it was like a Senna S or Senna-Cot, something like that, because I ended up buying more later on of my own, and I got the Senna S, and that was fine. I took that daily, but you want that stool softener, especially if you have stitches down there, because when you tear, and this is TMI, but I don't care because if you're watching this, you're probably a new mama or you've gone through it. When you tear, obviously, when you have a bowel movement, if you strain, you can break those stitches open. So I know, like, especially like when I was newly postpartum, I probably didn't go to the bathroom for at least 3 or 4 days. They do make sure that you can pee, otherwise they catheter you. So even that was a little bit weird as the epidural was wearing off. And I remember just like having to go to the bathroom and calm myself down. And even just going pee was difficult because you're wearing these huge pads and you have to pull them out and change them, and you're bleeding a lot. So definitely your bathroom trips are going to take some time. Obviously my husband wasn't working at the time, so like if I said, hey, I need to go to the bathroom, especially if I had to go number 2, watch her, or she would come and sit in the bathroom with me. So definitely those 2 prescriptions, absolutely take them. I'm not a big ibuprofen fan, but when you've had that trauma to your body and you're breastfeeding, because I did start off breastfeeding, there's not a lot else you can take as far as pain relief, and it did help as far as inflammation, and that throbbing pain would come back when the ibuprofen had worn off. So I did take those 2 things. Pads. So the hospital will give you a ton of pads. I actually brought a couple, but I never used them. The first one that they gave me was like this thing right out of the gate. This thing was big old pad. They gave me this, and then they had me wear these mesh underwear. My postpartum nurse was amazing. This is a clean pair I just pulled out of the package. She gave me a bunch of extras. So for while I was in the hospital, I was wearing the mesh panties, and I would put the pad in the mesh panties. So you can see how once you put this on and you have to hold it so you can pull up the mesh panties, it was a lot. It was not comfortable. You're bleeding a ton, and so it wasn't super comfortable. But right after you give birth, like I said, these were necessary, and I was going through these a lot. The other thing that I highly recommend if you can get them, and I was able to get extra because I still have one. I'd be lying if I said I didn't save this to show you guys, but I did. These ice packs. These are the snap and break ice packs. And so what I would, oh my God, they're revolutionary. So I would snap one of these, and then I'd put it under me, put this on, and then put them inside of a pant. I mean, it's a lot. And then you try to like walk around, and you're kind of like, do I keep my legs together? So you can see how it's not super comfortable. It's cumbersome, but when you're in that much pain, especially as those meds wear off, these were life-saving. I'd use these, I think, for like the first 3 or 4 days or something. Last about 30 minutes or so, and then they're like covered with like gauze or something. So when you bleed on them, you just take them and throw them away. But highly recommend those if you can get your hands on them. I know, like, I had some Pinterest saved on how to make your own padsicles or something, like with a frozen diaper, but if you can get them from your nurse, amazing. And they're nice and long, so they just go right where they're supposed to go. The nurse did give me a couple different sizes of pads, and so I ended up switching to these a little bit later, which are still really long and kind of cumbersome because you're not this wide, so they're kind of, you know, scrunched up when you put your legs back together. But these are like quilted, so they weren't as like puffy, and they kind of sat closer to your body, I guess. So I was able to get those from the nurse. And again, I used kind of what I could. I was changing these out very often in that first week postpartum. But then I think I kind of forgot that I had them or what. But I had bought these Always Discreet Boutique. I know they look super sexy and super amazing, you guys, but I will definitely bring these for my next kid and wear these right away because these were so much easier. They're just like a pull-up. They have the pad already in there. So the pad, there's nothing to like move around or scoot around in your underwear. I mean, this is the whole shebang. This is everything. So I just put it on. I could even put my ice pack right there and just kind of, you know, it's compression-y enough to where everything just kind of sat there, and I wasn't worried about leaks. Yes, you're still wearing like a full-butted padded underwear, so there's that element of comfort, but to me this was so much more comfortable than trying to stick a pad in a pair of panties in, you know, an ice pack potentially, and trying to get it all up and then it shifts around, and this was just so much easier. When you do change these, I was going through, you know, every time I would go to the bathroom, I was changing these out. So I was kind of flying through these because it's the whole thing, it's your pad and everything, so when you change it, you have to take it out and, you know, throw it away and get a new one. But I honestly, like, these were amazing. Don't knock them till you try them. So these are the Always Discreet Boutique ones, and I will link those below. Obviously, there's only one size of flow, so I'm not sure if, like, right after I gave postpartum, if that would be enough, but definitely will make sure that I have these for my next kid. I think it was like the second week or so, like I really started to dramatically slow down a little bit more, but you still can't use a tampon. There were so many times where I was like, please, can I just put a tampon in? Like, I don't care if I'm bleeding. The pain had subsided. You know, like I had felt okay, other than the fact that I was wearing a pad soaked in my own blood all day, every day. No, you can't put a tampon in. So what I did after that was I went into Target and I bought just like the full butted granny panties. I just bought black ones. I think they like the Auden brand. I'll link them below. And then I just got a bunch of different pads. Started out with the organic cotton kind, and then, guys, let's be honest, for cost reasons, I went to Sam's Club and I got some different sizes. These are the overnight ones, so with the wings. Make sure whichever ones you get, I highly recommend you get the wings because it's just nice. It protects you against leakage, anything like that. I did get the extra long too, so when I'm sleeping, if I shift around, and I just started putting a pad in a pair of granny panties and just changing out the pad. The other thing for me that was just like uncomfortable and not like me is I always wear leggings. That's just what I wear. When you're wearing granny panties and pads, it's not the cutest thing when you can see all that up in your leggings. So I was wearing kind of like, you know, baggier pants, looser fitting joggers. It was October, so that was, you know, if you're trying to figure out what you're gonna wear postpartum, just something loose on the bottom so you can't like see everything that's going on in there. That just kind of made me feel frumpy and uncomfortable. Definitely didn't feel sexy for those first 6 weeks. And you, first of all, you're postpartum, so it's hard to get a shower. Second of all, you want to shower every other freaking minute because you're just walking around in your own, you know. So it was just kind of, you just kind of feel icky for those first 6 weeks. But I just kept telling myself, this is temporary. Hospital gave me a Peri bottle, which was super, super helpful, especially because you want to, you know, fill it with warm water. This helped a lot too with pain down there. If I had the warm water, I just kind of squirt it up there, and then I would dab after I'd go pee with a little towel. This is really helpful when you go number 2 because you can't really like pull and wipe. You're kind of making it like a little bidet. So I would use this with nice warm water. It was cleansing, guys. It felt good. So they'll give you one of these. I didn't have to buy one. And then they also gave me, which is their equivalent of Dermoplast. This is amazing. I had this and then I ended up buying my own from Target, the witch hazel. This is like my 3rd bottle of this. So I ended up using this. There's still some in here. I think I liked the witch hazel better. I had one in every bathroom in my house. This was really nice. After you go to the bathroom, I would just kind of squirt this in here. It's kind of like a numbing spray. So I would use this, and then the hospital gives you kind of their version of witch hazel pads, which is like the AER brand. But I also went to Target and had picked up my own of the Tux brand, which is the exact same thing. I think they're for hemorrhoids because I was there with my husband and I was like, I don't want to go ask them for hemorrhoid patches. And he's like, you're postpartum, it's okay. But I don't know, I felt weird. So they're both do the same thing, but again, I had 2 different bathrooms that I was stocking them with. So I'd put one of these on top of the pad. Sometimes it would be on top of the ice pack. That ice pack on top of the pad, on top of the mesh pan. I mean, there was a lot going on down there. These were really, really nice. I used these even when I would just use the regular pads in my underwear. I used these right up until probably 4 or 5 weeks when the pain started to really subside and I didn't feel like the pain down there. It also made me feel a lot cleaner, and this was really nice. So I was still using this. Like I'd go, I'd wipe, I'd do my thing, and then I'd squirt this, put one of these in, and new pad, and go. The other thing too that helped me, but I think I had like I don't know, I think I had like not a hemorrhoid. It wasn't a hemorrhoid. If it was a hemorrhoid, it was an internal hemorrhoid. But my doctor said it could have been what they called an anal fissure. I know it's a lot of TMI. But postpartum, like every time I'd go to have a bowel movement, it would hurt really bad. Like it was like it would hurt, like there was a cut there or something, which is basically what an anal fissure is. I started sitting in sitz baths, and I bought one of those like little tubs, and I would just put warm water in there. That's all I put in there. I didn't put any herbs or anything like that. I didn't have it. I just would sit in that for a little bit, and that really, really helped. The one thing my doctor did caution me is to do it sparingly, just because you don't want too much warm water on the stitches. You don't want them to dissolve, but having a sitz bath really helped. Just the warm water, I'd kind of sit in there for like 10 minutes. So I did that for I think like a week or 2, and I really didn't start that. I didn't start that right away. I didn't start that until I felt like something was going on with my bowel movements, which I think was like 3, maybe 4 weeks postpartum that I actually went and bought my own sitz bath, which is just, I'll find a picture. You know, you just stick it on the toilet and you fill up the little bag with some warm water, and that's all I put in there. I had some sitz bath things, but I never actually used them. So that's kind of the postpartum care down there. I was 3 days postpartum, and I was struggling really hard with breastfeeding. When I was in the hospital, I had a lactation consultant come to me, and she was kind of showing me how to, you know, get Remy to latch and all that. But my milk supply hadn't quite come in yet. I think it came in that evening, because I remember being like, I got out of the shower and I looked at my husband and I was like, and I was really, really engorged. but it's hard. It hurts, first of all, and part of it was Remy didn't have a tongue tie or anything like that, so I got lucky. But you're pulling so hard at this thick colostrum stuff, and so she had started latching pretty well after I kind of got the hang of it. And for a while I was doing the football hold where her hands were behind me, or her legs were behind me and her head was right here, and I was kind of having her latch onto the right. But the left, I mean, she had tore up my left nipple, and I tried so many different kinds of balms. I had the lanolin balm, I had the Medela balm. I actually really like, I think it was called Mother Love. I really liked that one. That was the one that I liked the most. So I'll link that below. And the other thing that really helped too was taking a little bit of, like, you just squeeze out a little bit of breast milk and putting it on the nipple. If she didn't feed for a day, they healed really fast. It was just every time, you know, she was reopening that cut, I know like a couple times she would spit up and blood would come out and I'd just start crying. You know, she would latch and my toes would curl and I'd be sitting there crying while she's just, and my husband's like, okay, like, is that, you know, what are we gonna do? I can see why women quit breastfeeding. So we went a whole week and I didn't introduce a bottle at all. I did exclusively breastfeeding. Well, 10 days in, so the following Sunday or whatever, 11 days in, I was at my parents' house, and that's when I started to get this really bad pain in my boob while we were sitting there. And I was like it felt kind of like a stabbing pain. Like, I was like, do I have a clogged duct? And I have a breast implant, so I'm like, I don't even know what the hell I'm looking for. And I started to feel flushed. I didn't feel very good. I was like, okay, well, if it's a clogged duct, I know the nurse to have her try to pull it through. It didn't seem to help, and so I actually told my mom, I'm like, I gotta go home. I don't feel right. Got home, sure enough, I had a fever. And so 10 days in, we had to introduce a bottle because I was terrified that I was gonna get her sick. I was crying because I didn't know what was going on. I tried to pump to pull it through. That evening, I woke up in the middle of the night, chills, body ache, fever, everything. We thought it was the flu. And we actually had our 2-week pediatrician appointment that Monday. So when we went in, Remy had a fever. She had a fever of 100.6. And if you know anything about newborns, 100.4 or higher is grounds to go to the hospital. It's emergency. So I'm freaking out. I'm thinking, oh my God, what's, you know, and they're like, hold on, it could be the hot car, we'll give her a little bit. They did a rectal thermometer, and it had come down. So they weren't really worried about it. But I said, hey, but I did have a fever last night. So we were kind of talking about it a little bit, and I didn't, you know, I was telling her kind of my symptoms, and the pediatrician's like, it sounds like you could have had the start of mastitis. And I was like, oh, I hadn't even thought about that. Okay, well, it started with boob pain. Okay, I had flu-like symptoms. So went home that day, fever started again, looked at my boob. It was bright red. I knew it was mastitis. I got in that day. I went straight to the doctor's office. They got me in, and he prescribed me an antibiotic. Don't like taking antibiotics, but for this, I absolutely did. It was painful. The flu symptoms were kind of a dead giveaway, he said, and the fact that it was literally visibly bright red. Started taking the antibiotics. I think it was like a 7 or 10 day course, and it cleared up and it was a lot better. But I actually went in and saw a lactation consultant because at this point, you know, almost 2 weeks postpartum, I was torn up, bloody on both sides. It hurt every time to breastfeed. I, you know, was obviously wanting to breastfeed. Oh, you know, because people had told me, like, you need to breastfeed until I breastfed exclusively. I didn't even use a bottle for 8 months or whatever. And I'm thinking like I'm a bad mom over here. So I went in and we really worked on latching, which was honestly really, really, really helpful, guys. If you're struggling with breastfeeding, don't give up. Yes, it hurts for the first couple weeks, but seek help. This lactation consultant really did help me, kind of showed me what to do. I started to kind of get the hang of it. I think Remy started to get the hang of it. Here I am 5 months later, and I don't know the last time where it actually like hurt to breastfeed. So it is just a quick phase there for a couple weeks as you're getting used to it. Stick it out, guys. If you feel like something's wrong, go seek help with a lactation consultant. She really kind of helped me as far as holding, positioning. I had to for a while. It was a two-handed business, you know, hold my boob, hold her, but we got the hang of it, and I actually enjoy the bonding experience now. Now that, you know, fast forward 5 months and I'm working, and I'm, you know, leaving her with grandma, and we're doing bottle and I have to pump when I'm not with her. I do miss her at the end of the day, and I'm like, I want to nurse her. I want to, you know, and I want to nurse her in the morning. I nurse her every morning when she wakes up. So it is kind of that bonding experience. But stick with it, really stick with it, because there were so many times where I was like, I want to freaking quit. This hurts. A couple things that really did help me though, after I had gotten mastitis, I was kind of like, what is mastitis? It's basically just a clogged duct that goes, you know, a long period of time. Well, I was reading up on it, and actually I had mentioned that I had mastitis, and somebody that follows me had said, do you take sunflower lecithin? And I had never heard of it. Well, this is what I started taking. I got it on Amazon. I'm still taking it. It's actually a fat emulsifier. So what it does is it actually thins your milk, because I think what was happening was my milk was it's just thicker, whether that's just me, how I produce milk, or because of the implant, I don't know, but this helps to thin it so it pulls through the milk duct a lot easier and doesn't get clogged in there. It says to take 3 or 4 if you're clogged, and 1 to 2 preventatively. So I take 1 to 2 every single day now. I take one in the morning. If I remember, I take one at night. I've been taking it preventatively. This is literally, I would recommend this 110%. I haven't got mastitis again, knock on wood. Absolutely love this. Got it on Amazon. I will link it below. The other thing that I highly recommend, especially being postpartum, is I bought a 3-pack of these. It's just a nursing tank. I actually pulled the padding out, but it did come with padding, and it's perfect, just like so. It's a nice nursing tank. I wear it under my t-shirts. I'll pull it down, and it covers your belly too. So like if you don't have to lift up your shirt and you're like hanging out. So I would wear this under any of my shirts, and then if I was just sitting there, I'd put a cover over, still be covered below. I liked the nursing tanks more than I liked a nursing bra. I actually only have 2 nursing bras, and they're sports bras, but I'll show you. I'm wearing one right now. It's this one. It's from Target, and it's the Auden brand, but it's just like that. Kind of goes in the back. This is a medium. I got my normal size. The only thing is it's not super compression-y. So like if I'm running now, which I didn't do super early postpartum, but I am now, I don't wear this bra. I'll just wear a normal bra, and then when she's ready to breastfeed, I take it off and put on a tank top sometimes. But I really liked the Amazon ones better than I liked the one I bought from Target. I think the one I bought from Target was a Bamboobies, and I wasn't a huge fan of it. I don't know. I just think that this was a little bit nicer. Kind of has like a detailing here. It did come with padding, but when I was pulling up all the time, the padding would get all scrunched up. And it's, I mean, I have fake boobs, so my boobs are a little bit perkier, but it's not horribly unsupportive. And I actually still wear these to bed. So if I wake up in the middle of the night, I'm wearing one of these, I just come in. So, and then the other thing that I got from Amazon that I wear every single day is my pumping bra / nursing bra. I don't usually just wear this around the house. What I'll do is when I go to nurse, I take off whatever I'm wearing, or if I'm wearing a nursing tank, I'll just pull the nursing tank down, strap on this baby, and pump. So it actually is a nursing and pumping bra. So it has the clips again for nursing, but then it actually has, like on the back, you put the little breast shields through here, comes out the front, beep beep beep, wear it on, boom, here's what I'm doing. So this has been really helpful, because especially when, I work from home, I'm on the computer, I just stick my little breast shields in, pumping away. This was an Amazon purchase, highly recommend it. I never did the strapless one. I just felt like that was like, wouldn't I be doing this all the time? Really like this. I think it was fairly cheap. I'll find it and I will absolutely link it below. Lastly, if you are newly postpartum, this saved my life. I had one of these. I do have my big flask that I use now, but when I was newly postpartum, I needed something with a straw, because when you're trying to figure out how to hold your baby and nurse, and you're dying of thirst because you are gonna be so thirsty, it's really hard to so just having this here and me going like this was amazing. There was a couple times where I tell my husband, I'm like, okay. I had one of these every night. I would stick it in her room on top of the nightstand. I had it ready to go. When I would wake up in here, I had a full one of these. I cannot stress water enough, especially if you want your milk supply to get up and stay up. water, guys. I drink a 1.5 gallons to 2 gallons every single day. Still do 5 months postpartum. But yeah, I know this was a little bit long, but I wanted to put the postpartum stuff and the breastfeeding stuff into one video. I do have like a newborn must-have that I want to get out to you as well for things that were for her. But this is for you mamas because I was getting a lot of questions about it. It's not a fun time. Truthfully, the first, like I said, the 6 weeks postpartum was difficult. And I'm used to working out, and I pride myself on feeling good. I, eat right, I work out, I get enough sleep. I feel, you just don't feel good. You don't feel like yourself. You feel yucky. You're retaining water. Your body's doing a lot of stuff, but realize that it's a phase. You will get through it. And now being almost 5 months postpartum, I can straight up tell you that it gets better. Just hang in there. If there was one thing, like if you know anybody that's postpartum right now, ask them, hey mama, how are you doing? Because it's not talked about. And I do know that the couple of women that reached out to me postpartum, we'd be out and they'd be seeing Remy, and then they were like, how are you doing? It meant the world to me. I was like, oh. Like somebody, oh, you understand. So something that I've actually started doing with, now that I understand that those first 6 weeks are hard, and you can't expect hubby to understand either because they don't. But you'll get through it. It gets better, I promise. I'm excited to do some more vlogs. Hang with me, bear with me. Hopefully get on some sort of a weekly schedule again. But hope you guys enjoyed this, and give me a thumbs up, guys. I'm gonna try to come at you with mommy vlogs, fitness vlogs. Give me a thumbs up, support me. Appreciate it.